Good evening, everybody. WhatCulture Wrestling's Adam Cleary here, the only man contracted to the company who forgot to turn his phone off when he finished today, joined by Andrew Pollard, a man who, for some reason, I haven't asked, is already working at this hour. And we have some breaking wrestling news for you right now. You will not believe it. It's only WWE's old friend, the consequences of their own actions. COVID-19 is back in the company in a big way. You know what it's like, Pollard. It's Royal Rumble season. There's always spectacular returns, faces you haven't seen for a while. The coronavirus is back in WWE, and this time it's all over WWE champion Drew McIntyre. The company issued a statement not too long ago saying he is now going into quarantine, having tested positive for the virus. You've written up the story for us, Andrew. Why don't you just give it to us straight?
Yeah, I mean, last week was Hulkamania running wild, brother. And then this week we've got COVID's back and running wild, seemingly. Yeah, big news. Hence why we're doing this late night recording of this news story video. Yes, hello, people watching. Drew McIntyre has the COVID, as announced officially by WWE, which that in itself is something that the company's not particularly done throughout this whole messed up time that we're living in right now. We've heard that certain talents, certain on-screen talents, certain behind the scenes personnel have tested positive for coronavirus, but it's normally either they've let that information out themselves, individual, or it's just kind of stayed quiet and there's been rumblings. But this is, I don't know, the first time I can think of where WWE has come out and just gone, right, okay, Drew McIntyre, WWE champion, has coronavirus, is in quarantine as we speak. Of course, tonight, Monday Night Raw, he was due to face Randy Orton in a non-title match in the main event. That match, obviously, of course, is off. WWE frantically scratching around to find a replacement for McIntyre in the main event. They've got big competition from a college football game playoff. What happens with Raw? There was those previous teasers of Goldberg might be on Raw. So do we get Goldberg and Randy Orton? Well, yeah. It's nuts. It's a nuts story. And obviously there's going to be more to come from this, I'm sure, as the night rumbles on and the week rumbles on.
I mean, I did have one solid wish on Sunday evening, Andrew. I don't know if you joined me in this. And it was just all I wanted this week was to not feel for 1 minute like I was living through another moment in history. I'm just really tired of that now. And the WWE champion testing positive for a global pandemic virus is it's just another one of these things. I'm going to have to remember. I'm going to have to find a place to catalog this so I can tell people about it later on. There's absolutely no chance of people like Goldberg showing up on WWE now. Obviously, there's been a lot of stories circulating around that obviously people coming back from the seasonal holidays, that there was set to be a raft of testing, and I think every promotion was expecting some positives as people, were allowed to mingle a little bit more over the holidays. But I don't think WWE, even in their deepest, darkest, worst nightmares, were expecting that the WWE champion was going to test positive for this. Now, obviously, it's a smart move to put him into quarantine straight away. I presume the American restrictions are quite similar to us here in the UK, so that's 10 to 14 days, meaning he would just be back in time for the Royal Rumble, which I think, if I'm right, is on the 31st of January. But how you now do the build to him versus Goldberg, which is a sentence even in of itself, which we're not going to get into, is beyond me. It's going to be like no more physical or scary than me and you talking to each other right now, surely.
Yeah, I mean, how do you do it? It was just like the 1 week of build we had so far was fumbled by supposedly the time cues where Goldberg came out and just went, why are you disrespecting all these legends? Even though McIntyre had said nothing. So that build's been, it's up to a rocky start anyway. Now you can't have McIntyre on TV. I mean, hopefully he makes a full recovery from this and he's not hit as hard as some people. So maybe he's able to record videos at home. I don't know, but then what we're going to do? We're going to have Zoom beef between Goldberg and Drew McIntyre in order to settle the match at the Rumble. Who knows? And then
Interesting you should mention that, because when I was a teenager and I used to do play fight wrestling in my living room, my wrestler's name was actually Zoom Beef. So
really?
No, I made that up. I thought it would be quite funny. Anyway,
mine was Bill Goldberg, but yeah.
Oh well. It's going to be quite an interesting one, this, for many reasons. Obviously, we should say we absolutely hope Drew makes a speedy recovery. Everybody who's going to be testing positive for this, we wish them all the best. But WWE potentially working across the best case scenario here, which is just he's asymptomatic, he doesn't really feel the effects of it, he quarantines for the due period, then he's back safely working in the company, certainly as safe as you can do in these circumstances. But if he has any kind of severe effects with all of this, it's a debilitating lung disease which has laid up plenty of people of McIntyre's age, of McIntyre's health, of McIntyre's standing. There's no actual guarantee at this stage that he is going to be completely... Like, I'm not wanting to set off a wave of speculation here, but there is every chance that he could be laid up for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I think it was this morning maybe, I was reading an interview with one of the Young Bucks, I think it was Nick, who said that he'd had the virus in September of last year, and it knocked him about for months on end. And even when he came back, he was obviously in tag action, but he was kind of the man on the outside for a lot of that, and his brother did the heavy lifting. And he said it was his cardio got hit, his general awareness got hit, and it's taken him pretty much until now to kind of get back up to fully to full speed, to fully fit. So you're thinking, even if Drew, it is a minor case of it for him, you're thinking still that Royal Rumble match, to me, I don't think that's going to be happening, because you're thinking that is the very best possible scenario, is he is absolutely fine after 2 weeks, which that scenario may not happen. And then you've got to think as well of the other people in the company, the fact that there's this Florida hub with WWE and also with AEW. You've got to think of the Royal Rumble match itself. We're going to get a Rumble where, I mean, if McIntyre, hopefully it is just him, but I mean, if this runs wild through the company in a way, then you've got to find 30 people. Well, you've got to find 30 men and 30 women for the Royal Rumble.
We talked about this at WhatCulture here today. Of all the match types you could possibly be gearing up to do at this, which is this second huge spike of COVID-19, Battle Royals are absolutely not what you... I know WWE has done one or two of them across the course of the year. WWE has done many things across the course of the year, which perhaps they shouldn't have done. But going into something which is so publicly based on this carnage, on all these bodies in the ring, quick changing of people, like, even if you personally are not in the ring with someone who has COVID, if they're running around and breathing and sweating and touching the ropes and wrestling, like, that could so easily spread across the entire field for them. And that's even if they start disinfecting things between matches. There's a lot of questions going on in the UK at the minute about whether or not football should be taking place, which is, 22 people in a huge open air space, and whether or not that's totally safe at the minute. So for WWE to be looking at getting, upwards of around, you've got to think there must be 70, 80 workers on a Royal Rumble show now with both the Rumbles, plus untold backstage staff. And I know they distance, and I know they have legislation in place, but also there's only so much room and so many safeguards you can take when there's that many people in a building. And of course, AEW have the same problem, Impact have the same problem. Every wrestling promotion that's still currently producing TV has this problem. And, for the WWE champion to be laid up with this, at the very best, he's going to miss the build to his Royal Rumble match. I'm not even going to get into the worst case scenario, but the medium scenario is that, he could be laid up for a couple of months. He could be heading into WrestleMania season not fully fit, not having that crucial lung capacity you need for pro wrestling. It's just... Do we ask the question of whether or not this should all be going ahead?
I think we can ask the question as much as we want. We all know the same answer. It's gonna, Titan Towers is gonna have the same answer every single time. Exactly. I mean, to me, you look at it how when Ring of Honor relaunched again towards the end of the year, and they had their pure tournament. I know with that from various interviews we've seen, where the talent there, they were quarantined in a hotel for kind of 2 weeks. They went in and did a block of tapings back to back to back, complete bare bones. You'd have, what was it? I think it was 2 matches every episode. So you've got 4 individuals, and that's it. And it was back to basics, all stripped back, disinfecting them in between matches, cleaning the ropes, all that good stuff, which you'd hope that they would do anyway in every company. But maybe that's, if WWE is adamant to move forward, maybe that's what they do. But then they've got 3 hours on a Monday to fill. So how can you do that? ROH in an hour. So yeah, to me, the question would be like, how can this go on right now, especially when Florida is a hotspot for this? But we all know the answer. This ain't good. WWE is not going on hold, and they're going to be proud of that because they've got to put smiles on faces, Cleary.
It's a real pickle list, because if only the company had, I don't know, say, I'm freewheeling here, access to decades worth of tapes and matches and shows, some of which a lot of their current audience will have missed, that almost as if they could really use having a fan base who yearn to hark back to a certain era in professional wrestling, and which I genuinely at the minute probably really enjoy just watching like some recap stuff and some assorted highlights from back in the day. Could probably be a real education for current fans. Obviously they can't do that. I mean, obviously that's completely out of the question. They have to produce new content every single week, some 7 or 8 hours of the stuff. So that is the story as it currently stands. Randy Orton is still scheduled to be in the main event of Raw tonight, obviously not against Drew McIntyre. We wait with bated breath to see how they style that one out. But of course, there'll be more of this breaking, no doubt, in the coming hours. And Andrew, you'll be here to tell everybody on the website about all the lovely things. Head to whatculture.com/WWE for all the latest news. Andy and Wilborn will be back in the morning for any breaking video news that, I don't know why I did that you need to know about. But as ever, suggestions in the comments below. Let us know what you make of all of this. Andrew, where can they get you on Twitter?
At Cultured Left Peg.
Cool, I do like that name. Anyway, at Adam Cleary, CLERY, the entire WhatCulture Wrestling family at WhatCulture WWE. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. This has been a rare evening news, and we will see you soon.